Well, hello, Young and the Restless Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Monday, September the 26th, 2022. Monday, September 26th, 2022. Today's episode was so-so. It was pretty good with Billy and Victoria later. I'm going to get to them a little bit later. What annoyed me right off the bat, Sally and Chloe are at Crimson Lights, doing a little power meeting before they get to the office. Adam comes in and, he and Sally have this polite banter that Chloe's checking out. And she's like, well, what's happening with you? That was civil. That was eerily like civil and generic. And so they're like, oh no, we're just, Sally's like, I'm moved on. And Adam's pretty much saying the same. And hey, so Chloe's like, well, okay. And Adam decides he's gonna take his leave with no incident. And Chloe's like, well, okay, let's maybe we could pick this up. Or it's one of the two. Chloe or Sally said, let's go to the office to finish our meeting. Chloe's grabbing her bag. Sally gets a text. And of course, guess who the text is from? Nick. Now, of course, is it a business related text? Absolutely not. Can you stop by? This is a place of business. This is a place of business. Oh my goodness. Nick is acting like, this is the first time he has ever been with somebody. Okay. It's ridiculous. It's actually very unprofessional and juvenile. Just, you're an adult, Nick. You're an adult. You know how to handle yourself professionally. And after hours, text her. Do something, but to just all day, every day. So they go to the office, Chloe and Sally. And as soon as Sally puts her purse down, oh, I've got to go up to Nick to have a quick meeting. And Chloe's like, you're having an awful lot of quick meetings with Nick. And she goes, well, he's the boss. He's a good boss and he likes to stay in charge. He likes to be on top of things. And I'm thinking, yeah, on top of things. Yeah, Sally, on top of things now, on top of you, right? So Sally couldn't get out there fast enough where Nick was already at their office door. And I'm like, was he tracking her cell phone? How did he know she was even in the building? So Chloe's like, oh, okay, like, oh, you're here. And so he says, hello, Chloe, whatever. He goes, I just need to, speak to Sally. And Chloe says, well, I'll let you two get to it. She leaves the office, closes the door. Nick steps to Sally. I wanted to know, you want to have dinner with me tonight? I said, see, I'll be a monkey's uncle. I'll be a monkey's uncle. You want to have dinner. You mean the text that you sent earlier, instead of saying, can you stop by during your work day, couldn't have just simply said, would you like to have dinner after work? And let her respond, leave it at that. Both of you conduct business during the business day. No, couldn't do that. That's too much the right thing, the right way to handle it. So I am so just uninterested, could care less about Nick and Sally, who doesn't have any chemistry together whatsoever. Actually, I kind of thought there was a little more chemistry between Jack and Sally than Nick and Sally. And I'm happy they didn't have Jack jump into bed with Sally, because that would have been a disaster. So then we have Nate. Now we have Nate talking to the IPO lady in the morning at Crimson. Oh, and he's just giving her a rundown on everybody in the company, the dynamics. Nate, okay? So they're getting ready to go, to the IPO meeting to find out if there's going to be a launch. Devon and Lily have a teleconference with Jill, who is so excited. They tell her, yes, Devon is on board and they're going to do the launch. And she says, okay, I want to introduce you to, I forget the chick's name. I'll learn it at some point. And Lily's like, great, yes, we have a meeting set with her later today. And Jill was kind of like, well, okay, kind of, I thought your COOs would be at this meeting. And Lily's like, no, Billy's taking care of some personal family business, Um, and Jill is like, well, is everything okay? And Lily's like, yeah, yeah. But he should be able to meet when we have the meeting with, the IPO girl. And they just really didn't feel Nate had to be there, to tell Jill that. So we get the meeting comes. Well, not the meeting comes. Devon and Lily were talking. Devon was a little overstepping, but he does see that Billy is not truly enthusiastic about the company. But whatever, Devon, just leave it. Let Lily deal with it. So he's talking to him about, okay, Billy's not here this morning, and he may not make an important IPO meeting later. Is everything okay? And Lily says, yes, he has an important family, issue. In my mind, I'm thinking, Devon, in another day, if later that day you're going to be on your jet going to wherever Amanda is. So don't even talk about physical presence, although Devon would be on, teleconference. But anyway, Lily does tell him the truth that she knows Billy doesn't love his job. And she goes, I am concerned because in order to put the long hours that are going to be needed for this, what we're going to be going through, you have to love the job. And Billy doesn't love it. So she is a little concerned. And as they're talking, guess who comes sauntering through the office doors? Mr. Puffed Up with Pride, Nate, Lily, and Devon. I want to introduce you to, and he says her name, the IPO coordinate or whatever facilitator. And they look like, oh. And he goes, yes, for our earlier conversation, somebody said their earlier conversation, this, that, and the other. And Devon looks like, huh, earlier conversations, huh? And Devon looks at Lily, and Lily's looking like, huh, earlier conversation. And so the IPO person, she's polite and she really, talks and says, I'm here, is there going to be? And they said, yes, we told Jill there's going to be an IPO. So she kind of went into, this is what I do, blah, blah, blah. This is how I'm going to help. She was just laying it all out and what they needed. And so somehow she says, Nate was happy enough to give her some of the dynamics, and they're like, well, we weren't aware that you knew each other. Oh, no. She goes, oh, I didn't know him. I ran into him at, some little local coffee house, and we got to talking, and he invited me to to breakfast this morning, filling me in. And that's when Devon looked like, huh. And Lily was like, wow, like, that's talk about overstepping. What makes you think, Nate, someone in this magnitude that you don't even know we're going to have this IPO, that you could invite to breakfast to fill her in? You just quit the company a day ago, and 2 days ago, and just came back a day ago. And this is what you do. I'm telling you, this should be the biggest red flags and eye openers where they're concerned. And so after the meeting, she left because she goes, oh, I'm going to get to work and I'm going to shoot you some information. And Devon made a comment to Nate, and it wasn't a He didn't say, really, Devon didn't say what he was thinking. And truth be told, neither did Lily, because she was thinking something. Any CEO would have been thinking, wait a minute, CEO, what are you doing? What did you do? No, no, that's not how it works. So, needless to say, whatever Devon said, Nate goes, oh, you back at this again? Oh, so just that fast, what we decide, and he goes, wait a minute, what are you talking about? I just gave you a compliment. And Nate's like, oh, well, if that's the way it was really meant. See, I'm like, oh, and Lily is just looking like, hmm, mm-mm. you know, you know, disaster. But I'm hoping everything completely implodes before they actually do this IPO, because it's a disaster waiting to happen. Okay. So now Billy and Victoria decide they're going to tell Johnny today. They're anguishing over it. This is a rough conversation they're going to have with him. Victoria is clearly, and Billy, they're both clearly on edge because they don't know how this is going to go. And is this the right time? Is it too early? Is it too late? Is this the right time to have this conversation? But they're going to have it, right? So Chelsea, in the meantime, because Billy texted her and said, we're going to talk to Johnny today, or he saw her at the coffee house. I think he saw her. Oh, I'm glad I ran into you, Billy. I'm glad, I was just thinking, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, well, you know what? Victoria and I decided we're going to tell Johnny. Oh, today. Okay, great. You know what? Because I really said that, whenever y'all decided to, but really, I was hoping it was going to be soon because blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, see, she goes, because that was a lie. I was hoping it was going to be soon. And he's just looking at her, goes, well, I'm going to pick Johnny up. Johnny up, and we're going to tell him. And Chelsea, I want to remind you, it's up to Johnny. And make sure we remind you to decide what the next step is. Oh, no, I know. And I promise, just like I said, I promise. You know what? Whatever, that's for Johnny. And you know what? The most important thing is that he knows, and I'm going to let everything, you all handle everything. So Billy leaves, and he and Victoria are talking at the park. So they decide to call Johnny over and talk to him, And she's like, you remember how I told you, I'm not your biological mother. It goes, I'm your whatever, your heart mother, right? And he goes, yes, I've heard this story many, many times. I know. It's okay. And so they're like, listen, the reason why we brought you here, and Billy kind of takes over because Victoria's having a hard time, which I'm happy. Billy, as the father, took over, right? And he says, no, Victoria says, Johnny, do you ever have questions about who your birth mother is? Do you ever want to know anything? Because I want you to know you can ask us anything. And he goes, no, I have no questions. I'm good. So they carry on with the conversation, right? And they tell her who Chelsea is. And he goes, they're like, you know her. And he goes, wait a minute. The woman that I was just at the pool with the other day. So were you all talking about me behind, whether to tell me behind my back? And actually that question would have been, yes, as adults, we did talk about it because we all came to a consensus. It is okay. Now and Billy said, you're older now. And Victoria says, we don't want you to hear this from anyone else. We want you to hear it from us because other people know. So great. Everybody knows, and now you decide, what is something changing? Is something they're like, no, nothing is changing, Johnny. Which is an understandable question. Like, wait, am I now gonna have to have sleepovers with her? And they're like, no, nothing is changing. It's just we wanted to make sure you knew. everything. And he goes, well, now that I know, I don't ever want to speak of this again. And he gets up, he's mad, he walks away. And Victoria and Billy are thinking, whoosh, well, that didn't go too well. Yikes. Should we have told him? Or, wow, did we do the right thing? But when, in hindsight, when they think about it, you see how old he is, and they've aged him up. I would say he's what, 14, 13, 14 now. And this is his reaction. Could you imagine if they waited till he was 17, 18? He did need to know. Because like he said, everybody knew, or everybody knows, or knew but me, that coming out of his mouth was never going to change. But the only thing that would have changed is years to come, with all the other family gatherings, all the other things that are going to happen. He would be like, so you mean this past Christmas? And he's 17. That's why I got a gift from her. You what? So no, it is time. It was time. And they will make it okay for him. They will make him feel secure. So in the meantime, as they're talking to Johnny at the park, Chelsea comes sauntering in to Newman Enterprises. And Nick is like, hey, Chelsea. Yeah. I was just coming to see Victoria. And he's like, Vic is not here. Oh, I knew they were going to tell Connor today, and I mean Johnny today, and I didn't want a text just coming through Billy's phone for me. I didn't want to interrupt. And I'm thinking, so what are you doing at the building, at the office? What are you doing there? Chelsea, Chelsea, why are you this anxious? And so Nick talks to her, and Nick says, I'm sure everything will go well, and no, I just want to make sure everything's okay, and I just feel it's for the. She's just going on, and I'm thinking, Miss Contradiction, you just wanted him to know, and you wanted it to be at that, but you're clearly showing you don't just want him to know. Why would you think Victoria would want to talk to you after she had that difficult conversation? Why would you even think that? Right? So Billy, as Chelsea and Nick are talking, Billy texts her, said Johnny knows. Oh, gotta text her. It's done. Johnny knows. And Billy wants to see her. So he has her meet him at Crimson Lights. They're back at Crimson Lights. And he's just like, oh, like this was the hardest conversation he ever had to have, because it was difficult, right? And she goes, oh, okay. So Johnny knows. Okay, what did he say? How did it go? And he said, Chelsea, it was a very difficult conversation. And Johnny is still trying to digest this. And quite frankly, he didn't take it very well. Oh, but that's okay, but he knows. And you know what? If y'all need me to talk to him to let him know why, and this and what Billy's like, no. And we talked about this earlier. Johnny Johnny is going to make the decision when he wants to meet you, see you, talk to you as his mother, when he wants to, if he wants to. And Chelsea kind of looks like, huh? She goes, no. See, and Billy says, I'm really having a hard time with this, Chelsea, because what you're doing, all of this now, all of this urgency, see, all of this is not what we talked about. And Billy just kind of let her know, oh no, and I'm not having it. I'm not having it. Johnny has to digest this, and Johnny will decide. And now Chelsea's like, no, it is. It's all about Johnny. Her eyes are tearing up. Look, no, that's all I ever wanted. I just wanted Johnny to know the truth. And I just, no, and he goes, so we're going to leave it at this. We're going to leave it right where it's at. Okay. In other words, don't call us, we'll call you, Chelsea. And so Chelsea's like, okay, well, and she's wiping, I gotta go. Okay, thank you for telling me. Thank you for the update. And she goes to the park. Oh, she's upset. And Adam sees her and he's like, Chelsea. And so he's saying, why don't we take Connor to the amusement park? And this goes, you don't even like spinny rides. He goes, no, I don't, but we can divide and conquer. You take him on the spinny rides, I'll take him on the water rides, and this, that, and the other. And he goes, because I do know you wanted to take Connor, but let's compromise. Let's do things as a family, you know? And so Chelsea's like, I'm having a bad day. She's been having nothing but bad days, right? I'm having a bad day, Adam, and I can't think about that right now. And this, and the other. And she goes stomping off, thinking, oh, you're having such a bad day. You can't even think of planning something for the son you are raising. Can't think of that, Chelsea. So I'm telling you that the whole Chelsea saga is just beginning. What Chelsea is going to do is she's going to make sure she accidentally bumps into Johnny somewhere. And Johnny is going to lose it and get completely upset. And Billy and Victoria are going to be down Chelsea's neck. And Chelsea be, no, I didn't mean that. All I wanted to do. And yeah, it'll be all I. Chelsea's a problem. She's only going to ramp up, period. And they better watch Johnny, because she may try to take him, except he's so big. He's too old for that. He's not a kid that she can. Yeah, no, that wouldn't fly, because he'd make her life miserable. But she is going to do some damage, more damage than good. So that was it for The Young and the Restless. Let's go to Comic Corner. Comic Corner, Brooklyn says, Trevor St. John is on his way to see Diane. Who's Trevor St. John? Is that an actor? Was he on, did I miss him being on the name before, or was he on another soap? So give me some enlightenment, Brooklyn, on Trevor St. John. And then she says, love your daily recap, Sheila. Lily will be asking Phyllis for her expertise in helping her and Devon with Chancellor Winters after Nate's betrayal. And then it says, watch out, Victoria. Yeah, this is, hopefully this just doesn't go. This is not a snatch and grab and Newman walks away with all. I'm hoping they don't do that. That's crap if they do. And Libby said, Nate lost his dang mind. He's trying to manipulate, Elena's emotions to get her to support something illegal. It's not like him. I mean, it's not like he's asking her to support his choice of new font on a press release. Daily Recap Lady is right. Elena needs to tell Lily. Lily is my absolute favorite character on the show. Hope they don't ruin her. Something's going to happen. I mean, it's just not going to be good either way. And then Libby says, well, Daily Recap Lady Sheila, it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you for the opportunity to share our conversations about our soaps. Thank you for sharing a little bit about your life. Yeah, just a little bit. The warning about Young and the Restless leaving Paramount. Oh, isn't leaving Paramount Plus anymore. Maybe it's staying. You know what? Normally when apps like that and networks, they have their own conflicts when it's time to renew. When it's time to renew their contract, even cable networks, whether it's Time Warner or now Spectrum, whether it's AT&T, when it's time for the networks to renew their contract with the cable companies, we get all this. We're dropping CBS, a whole network. We're dropping ABC, and they work it out. So I'm happy that it will be staying, hopefully, on Paramount Plus, because trust me, that's where I watch it, on Paramount Plus. I do not have time in the day to watch it live on CBS. I could go to the app, but I like Paramount Plus. And then Ditos says, we actually only met a few months ago. She's talking about her and Libby. I thought they were family of sisters, but they're soap opera family, right? Thank you for the wonderful laugh um because God up above knows I needed it. Which laugh is that? Because I do make fun of quite a bit on these soaps. Find a way to get Diane's phone and make a dummy phone for yourself. She's talking about Phyllis. Just wait. Anything that comes through Diane's phone, you will have access to. Old writers. Maybe she means writers. You are so not creative 90% of the time. Phyllis did that before. She did hack someone's phone, and I forget what was she, Snoop detective at that time. She hacked their phone and she was reading all their messages. So yeah, you're right. Because as a matter of fact, the way she did it, she cloned, maybe it was with the Tara Locke situation or something. She put her phone or her tablet on top of their phone while they were talking, meeting in the lobby of the Grand Phoenix, while her device cloned the phone. And then when it was done, she just picked up, I think it was her tablet. She picked it up and walked away, and that's how she had access. And Nick wasn't liking the fact. He's like, that's illegal. She's like, look, please, look, I'm handling my business, okay? I'm handling my business. But yeah, she should, because if she does, she'll find out Diane is getting some mysterious text, right? So then, let's see. Dito says that's a great idea. We should write our own soap and daily recap. Lady could do a recap on it. Look, we're kind of rewriting some of the stuff with our comments, right? We're making it the way we want it to be. Well, I'm sure, and this is Dino's. Well, I'm sure won't have Phyllis been so tolerant of letting Jack get the best of her. Wait, of Jack letting Diane get the best of her. She would would have slapped her a long time ago. Well, remember, that's what the first thing they had with Nikki and Diane was a cat fight in Crimson. And then we feel like there's gonna be some action in Kyle and Summer's wedding. Phyllis will do something like punch Diane's whole face, push her whole face in the cake. It'll be something. I think at the wedding they will reenact the whole Jill, and I think it was Jill and Catherine or Jill and Nikki, because it may have been two. Jill and Catherine may have gotten it, and Jill and Nikki at different weddings. And it'll be funny. It'll be comical. Unfortunately, Summer will be hurt, but it's gonna happen. It is just going to happen. But they're saying Phyllis needs to bring up her level of tech where Diane is concerned. She needs to step back and not be so physical and just be sneakier. Phyllis has lost her sneaky edge. Robin says, love that even though Phyllis was hurt and she rose above it to celebrate Summer and Kyle. She was hurt. I was a little hurt for her too, when she just knew she was second choice, second best at that whole party. The little party of six, right? Party of six. So with that being said, let's see what Tuesday has to bring for the daily recap for the young and the restless. And I'll tell you, if I got to see one more text from Nick to Sally before dinner, I want to slap it. It's ridiculous. Somebody needs to take his phone away. I'll be back tomorrow, everyone.